Hey everyone. Today we're diving into a really important topic in the world of cloud architecture. How do we create connections that are truly secure and truly private? We're going to look at a technology called Private Link Service. And trust me, it's a total game changer. All right, so let's set the stage. Picture this. You've built a fantastic, critical application for one of your customers. They absolutely need to access it. But there's no way you're putting it on the public internet. And honestly, dealing with complex VPNs or peering your whole network to theirs just feels risky. So what do? Well, the solution starts with understanding a couple of core concepts in Azure networking. Let's really quickly break down the fundamental building blocks that make all of this magic possible. First up, we have the private endpoint. The best way to think about this is as a network card that lives inside your own private virtual network. It gets a private IP address right from your VNet's address space. But here's the cool part. It points directly to a service that's actually outside your network. It literally brings that service right into your private space, like a private doorway. Okay, so if the endpoint is the private doorway, the private link is the secure private hallway that connects that door to the service. And this is the most important part. Any and all traffic that goes through this link stays entirely on the Microsoft global backbone. It never, ever touches the public internet. It's completely isolated. Now, with those two pieces in mind, let's get to the star of the show. What if you're not just consuming a service, but you want to offer your own application with that exact same level of security? Well, that is precisely what Private Link Service is for. Private Link Service basically lets you flip the script. You can take your own service, maybe a web app running on a virtual machine, and offer it up to your customers so they can connect to it privately. They get to use a private endpoint in their network to talk to your app, just as if it were a native Azure service. You become the service provider. And this brings us right to the heart of the matter. Why is this model so much better than the way we used to do things, which was typically connecting two virtual networks together using VNet peering?
Because I know what you're probably thinking. Hey, hold on. Couldn't I just peer my VNet to my customer's VNet? Then they could just access my service's private IP directly. And yeah, on the surface, that sounds simple. But in reality, that approach is loaded with problems.
Let's just put them side by side. With VNet peering, you are creating this wide-open connection between two entire networks. It's complicated to set up, it's a huge pain to manage across different organizations, and the biggest security issue is that it exposes everything to everything. And what happens if your network and your customer's network happen to be using the same IP addresses? It's a very common scenario, and with peering, it's a showstopper. Private Link Service just solves all of that. No peering, it was built for cross-tenant connections. It only exposes your single service, not your network, and it completely avoids IP conflicts because it uses network address translation, or NAT, to transparently handle all that for you. So the key advantages here are just massive. First, your network and your customer's network stay completely isolated from each other. That's a huge win for security. The ability to do this across different Azure tenants, different organizations, is the absolute killer feature. It makes onboarding partners so much simpler and safer, and you never again have to worry about those nightmare scenarios with overlapping IP address spaces. Okay, so this sounds pretty great in theory, but how does it actually work? What's the process? Let's walk through the connection flow, because it's actually incredibly simple and elegant. It's a simple, four-step approval-based dance. First, you, the provider, create your private link service. That generates a unique ID called an alias. You then give that alias to your customer. Step 2, the customer uses that alias to create a private endpoint in their own network. This action sends a connection request over to you. Third, you see that request pop up, you review it, and you approve it. And boom, that's it. A secure, private connection is instantly established. The control always stays with you. And this alias, this is really the secret sauce that makes the whole thing work so beautifully. It's this globally unique name, and it's the only piece of information your customer ever needs. They don't need to know anything about your IP addresses, your network layout, nothing. Just this one string, and they can request a connection. It's brilliant. So when you put all of this together, it becomes pretty clear that this isn't just some other networking feature. It really represents a fundamental shift in how we should be thinking about cloud connectivity. The takeaway here is that Private Link Service is a genuine paradigm shift, especially if you're building solutions for multiple customers. It lets you offer your app with the same simple, secure experience as a native platform service. And most critically, it perfectly enforces the principle of least privilege. You are exposing only the specific service and absolutely nothing more. And that really leaves us with one final question for you to think about in your own work. Is your cloud architecture built on these broad, high-trust connections like VNet peering, or are you moving towards a model of true, granular, service-level isolation? Because the answer to that question could fundamentally change your entire security posture.